Hello, my beautiful creative creatures. It's Megan. I am back to talk more on Awakened of all the videos I've been sent because I want to get as much information out there as I can about this because, well, it's been a while since I've done any videos up here and figured I'd talk about it. We're going to try to tackle as many videos as I can today. I hope you enjoy. Let me know what you think, and let's get started, actually. Let's get started.
All right, guys, welcome, welcome. So if you don't know me, I'm Danelle Meoli, the Chief Sales Officer and founder, one of the founders of Awakened. I am super excited today to have Jim Roufs with us. He's been a formulator for many, many years. I'm going to let him kind of tell you his background. He's also been involved with Zenith prior to even it being named Zenith, this formula, I should say. Knows a lot, has great information, and has helped us tremendously to learn the ins and outs of what I think is hands down the greatest product I've ever personally used. It's become a tool for me and for Scott in our household. We have been on the product for 6 months, had radical results, and we have been very closely following what the clinical trial said to do. We have veered from it. We'll talk about that later. We have messed around with our diet. We've messed around with dosage. And I can tell you wholeheartedly, as you learned today, some of this is about accountability and doing what you can to give yourself the best results with Zenith. And some of it is just knowing how to get the best results with Zenith itself, AKA dosing, when to take it, how to take it, etc. So Jim, tell everyone a little bit about yourself. Some of them have seen you before, but I'm sure the majority have not.
Well, first of all, thank you for the intro, Danielle. And second, hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas and ready for an amazing 2023. I've been in the industry for over 30 years, heading up new product development or product development for different companies. I've been a consultant in the industry for the last 16 years. The last company I worked for, some of you might be familiar with, was Neutralite, where I headed up new product development for them. And that's where it was soon after I had left that I came across Zenith, and actually was there when it was first presented and before it was even published. And I had known the lead author, and it was kind of interesting to hear him speak about it, not having heard about it. But even this many years later, I can honestly say, and I've said this from the start, it's the most effective fat loss product I've seen in 33 years of doing it. Product development since I've been in the industry. And there's no product that I've seen that actually has produced, an extra 1.3 pounds of not only weight loss, but an extra 1.3 pounds of body fat loss. Almost every single study that you look at in terms of weight loss, there is almost always some amount, in some studies, a significant amount of muscle loss. And there was none of that. In fact, there was a non-significant increase in lean body mass of 1.1 pounds over the 8-week trial. So,
again, those seem like medical claims that they should not be making. Again, they always are on the prowl to make those claims about these products, which they're not allowed to do. Please stop doing that. It's misleading, and it does not help, especially in the way of how they perform, which is a pyramid.
I haven't seen a study that has beat the effectiveness of Zenith. So with that said, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted me to describe or provide.
Yeah, let's get right into it. I get questions all the time, and for me, it's also a learning curve, right? Because I've been involved with the product for 6 months, and I know the tweaks and the different things you can do, and how much people have this mindset of the scale. And so let's hit on the scale. And actually, I've had multiple people send me photos, text me and say, look, I've only lost 3 pounds. Look at my pictures. They're like, this is insane. And you see a radical difference in their bodies just from 3-4 weeks of use of the product. And that to me is really significant because I grew up in the era of, and I'm 48 now, so I grew up around the scale means everything. Everything's about, eat like a bird, hope that you can get really skinny and make sure that number is really, really low as a female because that's your self-worth. And we know that was a very devastating thing for.
And we also touch on the fact of the damaging mindset that diet culture like this instills when it shouldn't be a topic, especially as a teenager. Like I'm 30 now, and I'm small for my size, and I know I don't like getting comments on it. So to have anyone else have comments made about how they look, especially as a woman, is very irritating, because no matter how much you try and how much you may want to gain weight or whatever it is, it's very difficult to do. And some people, it's very difficult to lose weight. And it doesn't mean that your worth is any different. Just letting you know, your worth does not dictate how you are in size. Like, it doesn't matter what size you are, you're still a worthy person. So if anyone tries to tell you that, they're wrong.
Everyone, men and women, to have to be married to the scale. I no longer worry about the scale because I've watched inches drop off of me. Scott's seen it with him, non-scale victories. So can we talk about non-scale victories and why it's important to be also looking at what your body composition is versus what the scale says while you're using Zenith?
Well, I'm actually glad you brought that up because, and again, this is one of those unique things about this product. In fact, when they looked at the first month weight loss and fat loss, the individuals actually lost 3 extra pounds of body fat because they lost in the first month 6.2 pounds of weight, but 9.2 pounds of body fat. And then it seems like, which is also another reason I find this product fascinating, is because they actually lost more weight and more body fat in the second month. Because typically what happens is you get a lot of weight loss going on at first, not always body fat, but you get weight loss at first, and then you kind of settle in and the weight loss slows down. In this case, in the second month, they lost 14.1 pounds of weight compared to 6.2 in the first month, but they still lost 12.1 pounds of body fat, again, compared to the 9.2 in the first month. So they got even better results in the second month than just the first month.
So thank you for that. I'm going to read one of the comments. Amy Murphy, she goes, I weigh in at my gym, which measures fat and muscle mass as well. My weight isn't changing significantly, but my fat mass percent has decreased significantly and the muscle mass has increased. The number on the scale is comprised of many things. And thank you, Amy, because that is hands down what I see happening with me physically as a human being who struggled for over a decade with trying to lose weight and then actually keep it off. Another thing that I think is really powerful that you guys should know is that a lot of times people get on it with an expectation that it's all about the pounds on the scale, and they're more likely to quit using the product because we haven't set the right expectation. So our messaging as a company is shifting now, and we're going to be very, very clear. We're going to have a 5 to 7 minute video that's a welcome video that'll be out within the next week or so that they'll get upon ordering, that they'll get a week after they've ordered. So they'll get it multiple times so that that video sets the expectation of, hey, make sure you're tracking. If you can get an InBody or a DEXA scan, get one. If you can get a scale that shows muscle versus water versus fat, right? That's important, because I can tell you there were a few months where Scott and I flatlined, but yet we'd put on clothes and go, look, pants are, going on easier. Belt buckle is getting, so keep in mind that body composition is really true. There's a lot of skinny fat people. Let's all be clear on that. And then there's people who I've seen, even this woman on TikTok I was sharing yesterday with a group, she posted herself at like 145 pounds and then at 163. In the 140 something picture, she looks flabby, she looks fluffy, and now she's toned and tight. And she goes, please guys, don't look at the scale. She goes, this is what happens when you put muscle on.
Personally, I don't like when people make comments about bodies in general like that. It just sounds like the opposite of what you're going for, especially when she didn't like the comments being made about her. But to make comments about someone else is not fair. Not right. Don't do it. Don't do it. It only hurts the person. Stop doing that, please. Okay, thank you.
And looks like somebody who really is proud to be in a bathing suit. And I thought that was super powerful. So let's talk about a little bit of the questions that are coming out that are not the typical questions we get. What about when you're postmenopausal is one question I want you to talk about. And the second question is falling in that, like, what about age? How do we factor in what to expect? Because the Zenith, the clinical for this formula was really a tight clinical, right? It had a certain group of people in their 30s, women, right. You know, they didn't have antacids, they didn't have things, there were certain things they weren't on. So let's talk about that so people can set the right expectation.
Yeah, it's a great question because, you know, with every clinical, they usually have a certain inclusion criteria. And as you said, Danelle, it was younger women, relatively younger in terms of in their 30s, relative younger than postmenopausal or perimenopausal. And we all know that that era in a woman's life does have some challenges for a lot of reasons, but also including weight. And so I think the situation is we don't know, we don't have specific data. The data, the results should still apply. Whether or not it's as significant as this younger group of women, we don't know. And so as is basis, but you know, the study still is effective in and of itself.
Wonderful. Couple things we're going to talk about. And we got to get really real. You guys know me as the owner of the company, but also as a human being. I'm all about transparency and being real. I had one of our doctors on a call last night, and she straight up said to the group, don't let anyone fool you. Between Thanksgiving and New Year's, people eat more, even the people who are super disciplined. They eat more, they drink more. And so this would probably be the worst time of year if we had to nail it down to have people going through their 8 weeks of Zenith in one regard. In the other regard, I have people saying, listen, the fact that I didn't put on 10 pounds during Thanksgiving and Christmas is absolutely amazing. And I can tell you, for Scott and I to not have packed on weight is proof that Zenith helps with reduction, right, of appetite. The fiber getting into the system and giving you that satiety is so important. But also signaling the hormones. It's a fat signaling, right? These are fat signaling hormones that Zenith really helps trigger. The leptin coming down, the adiponectin coming up. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes. So Jim, can you talk about realistic expectations this time of year, right? For people just getting started. And then outside of that, let's take them out of this time of year when most people are consuming way more than they would any other time of year. What if someone feels like they're bloating or they're gaining weight? Are there any calories in this? Can they gain weight on Zenith? Or what could be making them retain water and other things on Zenith?
Yeah, great question. Your point about this time of year, I think, is obviously a very pertinent one, because I think all of us know when we're out at people's homes, there's more food than there normally is, more sweets. And so it's very difficult to kind of maintain, you know, as if we were to follow the actual diet, which was 500 calorie deficit, from say approximately 2,000 calories down to 1,500 calories. That was the kind of the diet that was used in the clinical trial. That's a real tough one to maintain during this time. And I think it is good to just have realistic goals to say, okay, maybe I'm not going to be losing weight here, continues taking the product. And especially too, I know some people have, as they've opened up the capsules, sometimes they get even better results in terms of increased satiety. And that can help maybe reduce some of that excess eating that they typically would at a meal or a party, etc. And so I think it's a matter of kind of taking a look at, the situation, planning ahead, maybe taking it before they go, open up the capsules, and then take it with either, some yogurt. I know some people are mixing up, or just in some warm water, and then drink it down maybe an hour before that they go to a dinner, so that they just are going to be eating less. And so it's the burden of trying to reduce the caloric intake is kind of taken away. Zenith is helping them actually not overeat.
I personally hate the idea that in order to lose weight, you must eat less, which I don't have the data right now to back it up, but let me know if there's anyone in the health field that knows, like, does eating less always guarantee that you're going to lose weight more, or is eating more, or at least spread out, better? Because I know, like, if you want to gain muscle, you must eat more, because you have to make up for all those calories you're burning just trying to put on muscle. So I needed to know from any health professionals how that all works.
Love that. And I think it's really, first of all, guys, from an FTC standpoint, from the way regulatory is pretty much across this industry, especially, you should not, and you should never would, and we will never promote as a company that you can pop a pill or drink a drink or, you know, put something in your body and not be held accountable for doing what you need to do to live a healthy lifestyle. For those of you who are new to the industry, it is really critical that we stay compliant with what is allowed to be said, what should be said, what claims can and can't be made. So when you talk about Zenith with people and you just say, just take this, because when I did it, I was still eating a little ice cream and this and that. What you're doing is setting an expectation that they don't have to follow the clinical trial, but they're going to still get clinical results, which is just not, it's just not realistic. And it's not fair to your new customer or your new member. What I will say though, that Lorna and Jim have shared with me and with many others in our field is you don't have to go crazy. 500 calories is the candy bar that you eat on the way home. It's the donut you popped when, you know, you were getting your coffee in the morning that you shouldn't have had. It's the snack after dinner. But Zenith, if you're getting it in your system, what I personally experienced, and I know so many of you have, is you naturally just want to eat less because it's getting in your system. If you feel that you're not getting any results and you know you're being honest with yourself, you've been watching your diet, you're doing this, you're that. If you feel like, something's not right, take that capsule, open it, do what I do, put it in a little bit of yogurt or put in a little bit of applesauce. I like it in Greek yogurt, that's low sugar. Mix it up. And I have actually seen far greater satiety, far greater results in the last 7 days than I have in the last 6 months. Meaning, Scott and I, he's right here, he's working, you probably hear him typing. He started it 2 weeks ago. I started it a week ago today. And now and I told Jim today before the call, I'm like, here are two people who never had real digestive issues with the capsule. And we are noticing from a 7 to a 9 in how full we are now. And that's because the capsule's not in the way. So we're really excited about coming out with new delivery systems, guys, which we're going to be sharing with you. The company will be sharing with you. We're working on a beverage form. They have a coffee form of Zenith down the road that we may launch. We've got, we can do little brownie bars or different type of snack food.
The only main reason that a lot of these companies out there come up with so many varieties of things to sell is because their customers are the people within the company. You can see it all over TikTok, especially when, granted, there are people that do buy it and join, but it's not to the extent that the people that are like joining. So it's just funny to see because they bring in all these products and they're always raving about them. Majority of the time, you never hear them say the opposite. They're never going to tell you, hey, I don't like this one because of blah, blah, blah. It's very rare. It's very uncommon. And you see how cult-like they run their businesses because they don't want you to ask questions. They don't want you to have a different opinion. And they don't want you to think for yourself. Because if you thought for yourself, you probably wouldn't be doing it.
Snacks that you could pop in your mouth, take with you on a plane, take with you while you're traveling or you're at work to get your Zenith in where you don't have to mix it or you don't have to drink it or you don't have to pop a capsule into your mouth. So we've got many ways, right, Jim? You know formulation, we've taste tested while we were in California. We've got some really cool delivery systems coming. So if it's not working for you now, I can promise you that capsules being in the way, I am fully convinced that even people with the best digestive systems, that Zenith may not be getting where you need it to be because we typically around here, especially in the US, have poor digestion. So can you hit on digestion and how the other delivery systems may be a better way to get it in the system and get a better efficacy?
Sure, you bet, Danielle. One comment before I go into that. One comment you made about claims. There's FDA claims and then there's the FTC claims. And the FTC claims are really the highest standard. They're truthful, non-misleading. And the study speaks for itself. All you have to do is just talk about the results of the study and you're good. And to be able to talk about that extra 1.3 pounds of body fat loss, in individuals who are both dieting and exercising, basically doubling the effects of diet and exercise are really powerful. I know I was with a group of ladies, including my wife, and I had just mentioned that 1.3 extra pounds of body fat loss a week, and all of them said, "Where do I get the product?" And I think it's just a message that really, really hits home. With respect to digestion, it is true. You know, we're all different. Every single one of us is unique, and we as a country don't eat the healthiest as we should, and I think all of us know that. And that includes even for myself. You know, I often include myself as an 80-20 in terms of 80% I really watch what I do, and then 20% enjoy some desserts and things like that. There are people though that are just having a hard time, and especially when you're dealing with a fiber product, and that switching from kind of 3 capsules to 2, you know, and putting more in there. The problem is in individuals who have digestive issues, this is not atypical.
Right.
Sadly, it's a cheap way of finding out whether or not you have a good digestive system or not.
Right.
Fortunately, just opening the capsule solves that problem. And so it is one of those things that, you know, looking at moving back to that 3 capsules twice a day, I think is going to help really resolve a lot of these issues. But in the meantime, at least it's an easy solution.
Amen. A lot of people are asking, and I'm just going to throw these 3 things at you at once, kind of the same category: alcohol, wine, meds, caffeine. Good, bad? Should you take it around Zenith? Not take it at all? I'm a big believer in take your meds away from everything because you don't want to interfere, but we'd love to hear from you, your thoughts on that. And of course, listen, guys, I like my alcohol too. Scott and I like a nice little glass here or there, some good bourbon or scotch or wine. But I can tell you, as a human being who's been in the weight loss game in and out for a long time, alcohol slows weight loss. There's no way around it. But talk about what they can and can't, or should or shouldn't. What are our recommendations if they really want to maximize the results? Coffee, wine, meds, etc.
Yeah, dealing with meds first, I think it always is best to take, especially since it's a fiber-based product, it will swell up and it can actually then affect the metabolism of drugs. And so it's always best to take it at least an hour away from meds.
Beautiful.
From that standpoint. With respect to alcohol and caffeine, there may be some slowing as well of the absorption of these substances, just because, again, the gelling effect in the stomach, and it may just slow some of the absorptions. And that's something that you'll just have to see on an individual basis. But with respect to, you know, alcohol, obviously this time of year, most of us will tend to increase the consumption, and that's just the reality. But I think it just depends upon how serious we are about the weight loss, in terms of if you're wanting to have aggressive weight loss continued through the holidays, then, you know, that's probably then not the wisest to be increasing the alcohol intake. But you know, I think, again, realistic just during these times, if you're not gaining weight, you're actually still, you know, in a positive situation from where most of us would be, which we tend to gain, you know, some weight during this time of year.
Good point. So a couple more questions, and I definitely I want to hit as many as I can. So Susan was saying, did he say 3 capsules twice a day? Yes. So the beta testers did three capsules twice a day. We moved to 2 capsules twice a day, but the same milligrams coming into your body. So there's no change in what was given during the clinical is being given now. There's no change. Well, we wanted to put it into for pill fatigue, for people who hate swallowing pills. People don't want to remember it. You know, they have to do 3 and 3. So we have a batch coming in that are the 3 pills, okay, twice a day, so that there's less in the pills. We've got that already in production, so that if some of you have been experiencing that the 2 pills are just too full and not giving you the results, until then, just open the capsules. You're still getting the original formula. Nothing's changed. You just are allowing yourself to be able to get it in and get it working quicker. And now that I'm doing it and can see such a result, and I didn't have issues with it, wow, I'm pretty blown away. So yes, I wanted to answer Susan's question. We will be also talking about empty stomach. So I'm just going to give you my personal testimony on this. I've been taking it on an empty stomach 30 to 60 minutes prior since day 1. Because I have low stomach acid. I know my digestion is slow. So that's just me. We do, the recommended is to wait 30 minutes. But if you're going to put it, open the capsule and put it in a little bit of food, all you're doing is putting it in maybe a tablespoon of yogurt, applesauce, or you can put it in a little warm water, let it dissolve quick, splash cold water, slug it down. The goal is to get it in your system, kind of like a quick little snack. It's just a delivery into your system. And then waiting 20.
I find the funniest thing about learning about this company in general is how much they talk about how you get this pill in your body to compared to like other ones. Like I don't hear very many of them saying like, at least in a while, you have to do it in such a way, except for like Elamir was one of them. But I think they were supposed to, instead of putting it on your tongue, they were supposed to put it under their tongue, which was faster, and they didn't. They weren't listening to that. But either way, who cares? But it's just funny that so much emphasis is on the delivery. Obviously, I understand it is important for stuff like that. Medicine's the same way, but normally they don't want you to do it on an empty stomach because you could get sick. So that's the only, in my opinion, downfall that they have said. Like she's like, I do it on empty stomach, but not everybody can. So I'm just saying, think about it before you ever take on any of these products that these people sell. Ask your doctor.
30 minutes just allows the body, allows that fiber to get in and start doing what it does. Because even though this isn't just a make you feel full product, there's a lot more going on the hormonal level. It's really important to give it time to get into your system. And because we don't know who's had gastric bypass, who's had lap band, which leads me to the next question. So for the woman who asked about empty stomach, I'm a big believer, unless Jim, you feel any different. I know you can sprinkle it on food and eat it right away. I've just noticed that it actually makes me more full by waiting those 20, 30 minutes. But if you think they can do it and try it, test it out, because everyone's different, let us know. And then I'm going to hit on another question.
Yeah, with respect to timing, it's interesting. The clinical, actually, they took it at 2 of the meals. So there wasn't even the wait, but it makes sense that some people are getting better results when they take it 30 to 60 minutes before a meal.
Absolutely. And listen to your body. I've been in this industry. I've actually been in sales for 30 years. I've sold everything, houses, cars, you name it. I've sold it. And I have to tell you, of the supplements I've launched, mostly in the last 12 to 15 years, any supplement, any vitamin, I found that people really do better to listen to their body. Just because I used an HGH gel that was phenomenal for me and certain amount of dose a day was great for me, it didn't mean the next person had the same result, and they had to listen to their body. So listen to your body. If you're getting great results because you're taking it with the meal, God bless you. If you wait 30 minutes and you go, Danielle was right, it needed time to get in my system, great, do that. But remember, there's little tweaks with weight loss. Weight loss is not an easy industry to be in. And someone did have a question about GERD, and we want to talk about antacids. There's just so many people that don't have the proper stomach acid and digestion in general, capsule or not. So we want to give the body time to get it going, get it moving. And I cannot express how important water is. So let's talk about antacids, someone having GERD, and how water and fiber, the lack thereof or getting enough, how it's going to affect Zenith. Because I think people just are chronically dehydrated and they don't understand how important water is for getting fat out of the body. Hydration is important. And if you're chronically dehydrated, you're not losing weight anyway. So let's talk on antacids and water.
Yeah, so I think with respect to especially those individuals who are able to take it on a regular basis, whether they have GERD or not, if they're taking antacids or not, they're not having any issues with the capsules and they're finding results, great. If they are having some issues, not maybe digesting the capsules, then clearly going back to opening up the capsules, taking it, and that again shouldn't affect, they're even with the antacids, because the antacids are more of a local issue. And so that actually probably wouldn't be interfered with. That would be one medication that probably wouldn't be interfered that much. I'm trying to think if there was another question in there.
Antacids for hydration.
Clearly, obviously, also too with the fiber product, always good to have a good amount of water. I think that's just going to enhance the effects. It's interesting, again, we go back to the clinical, always trying to go back to the clinical, try to be as true to the clinical as possible. There was actually, at least what was written up, there was no recommendation. They weren't required to take a certain amount of water Again, they were taking it just at a meal. But I do think, especially if you're taking it before, I think greater benefits are going to be seen if they actually take it with a good amount, at least 8 ounces, if not 12 to 16 ounces.
Yeah, and what I've noticed is that there are people who are, and let's just be real about fiber. Most people are fiber deficient, and their diets don't have roughage like it did, you know, generations ago, where they were eating off the land. And so as we become a more packaged food society, as we strip foods of the fiber, right, and our bodies aren't getting it, some people don't adjust quickly to hitting their system with all of this fiber. There are 3 different types of non-fermentable viscous plant fibers in this product, as well as cetylated fatty acids. It's natural, there's no stimulants. But sometimes what I'm seeing, Jim, and I've been able to help people mitigate this, is they start it and all of a sudden they get bloated, things aren't moving, they think they're gaining fat, although they're not. They're getting backed up, they're holding on to water, and the fiber starts just grabbing every bit of water in their system, and they start putting on water weight. And they also, for some of them, stop, or they're just someone who's chronically constipated and they're not eliminating. So I know Lorna gave a really good talk, and some of you missed this, on you should be seeing elimination every day, several times a day. Yes. And if you're not eliminating regularly, you're someone who's had constipation prior to this, adding fiber isn't going to be pretty. So you really do need to hydrate, right? Move your body, hydrate, but lowering the dose of Zenith out of the gate when you're feeling or seeing, or you have someone seeing some bloating, some water retention, has helped them tremendously for their body to adjust. So talk a little bit about, not everyone out of the gate is going to tolerate fiber. Once again, back to digestion, that we can't control digestion of people's bodies. That's something that's a variable we can't, right? We can't change, but we can help them to get better results and lower that issue for those having it. Because some people have really gotten in their head that, oh my gosh, with Zenith I gained weight because the scale is showing it.
Yeah, and if right before I go into that, there was another point that you touched on that I also wanted to touch on as well, because we've been talking about it being a fiber product. Well, not all fiber is the same. As you mentioned, this is a very specific fiber with 3 very specific fibers that vary in their viscosity. And these were the ones that were ended up being patented by Dr. Dan Gallagher from the University of Minnesota. And so this is not just a fiber product. It's a very specific fiber-based product that has the clinical data behind it. So I just wanted to make sure that we're clear on that one, because again, you know, fiber sounds like, oh, it's just, you know, fiber is fiber, and that's not the case at all. I would say, especially too, if some people are finding out that they're not eliminating, as soon as they see themselves not eliminating, then I would make sure that they actually do break those capsules open and take it with some warm water, and just with water or with food, whatever it would be, and just see if that resolves the issue. That should resolve the issue as effectively as anything else. And so I highly recommend people doing that. Because if they are having that problem and they're just not able to eliminate it as efficiently as they should.
Right. So keep in mind, if someone's having that, we'll have these videos that are being created as we speak. They'll have the 5 to 7 minute video. Hopefully within the next week, we'll have that. That will go out to past people. A couple of you have asked that question today. That'll go out to past users. Anyone who's ever ordered will get that email. Then anyone who newly orders will get the email. It'll be in your back office. It'll be on the corporate Facebook page. It'll be emailed out a week after they've ordered. So, because that's about the time they're getting their product, because we want to get them to watch the 5-minute video and understand what to expect, right? When you set proper expectations, or you say, if you're experiencing X, Y, and Z, that's completely normal. And they'll have a small 1-minute video. There'll be several of them that say, hey, feeling bloated, constipated, here's what to do. Not noticing results, but you're following the plan. You're really watching your diet and trying to do best. Here's what we would say to do. So there's going to be small.
And whenever it comes to hearing them start suggesting what you should do, all I hear is scam. Because they always want to promise. They want to always overpromise and under, what's the word? Or not a word, but under, like not follow through. So like that's where I say a lot of it's a scam, because they will promise you the world and give you like a small little bit. So that's my point about this. You can let me know what you think. It's not that I have any hate or anything towards MLMs. I just don't like how their tactics are and the cultiness of them.
Troubleshooting videos to help your people get their best results. And there's going to be that welcome video that really does give them a set expectation for Zenith, why it's powerful, what's so important about adiponectin and leptin, and why is this so different from everything else out there. So I wanted to make sure you all know we're going to be powering that down through everyone's organization, getting as much information out there. Someone mentioned magnesium. I personally take magnesium a few nights a week. I learned a long time ago, prior to network marketing, prior to Zenith, that my naturopath and my physician were like, you chronically you're not eliminating the way you should, right? And so magnesium and lots of hydration became, and I started drinking real water that was really hydrating water instead of tap water and things that are junky. And it changed my whole life. So if you're someone who is needing extra assistance, and not only, it's so important to eliminate, especially when you're using Zenith, magnesium to me is one of the most powerful things you can use over the counter. Magnesium citrate was one of them. I think Dr. Rimka is on, and she can maybe put in the chat what she recommends. But what would you say about maybe using a magnesium? Some people are saying, can I use Metamucil? I'm not a big fan of extra fiber on fiber, and Senecot to me was the most painful thing I've ever used. But what do you think about just maybe supplementing with a little bit of magnesium, or maybe putting something in their water to get minerals in their water?
No, I think that's a great idea. Even the best absorbed magnesium still is not 100% absorbed. And
Okay.
So any amount of magnesium that's going to go into the GI tract that remains unabsorbed will help with elimination. And so I think it's a great opportunity for people to try, especially when you look at, depending upon the age, up to 75% of Americans are magnesium deficient.
Yes.
And so we're all in need of more magnesium for sure.
So if you're in your mind are saying, I've got 10 new customers, you've got to keep in your mind that the majority of those people probably have leaky gut, poor digestion or slow digestion, probably have, are deficient in magnesium. So many people's health, just by the time they're 30, 40, 50, there's a lot going on that we can't control. We're bringing them a great product. They have an issue. We're bringing a potential solution, but we do need to be really good at messaging as a company, but you with your customers, getting them into the new Facebook page that we're starting. It's going to be a group for Zenith users where they can ask questions. We're going to do lives. They can complain all they want. They can ask questions. They can get support. They can have accountability. They can have meal plans. All that's coming in February, which is right around the corner. We're literally starting January as we speak, right? So before you guys know it, the 3-pill twice a day, 180 capsule bottles are coming out. Same formula, just less in a capsule, so more capsules a day. Is that something some people will complain about? I guess so. Then just open the capsules. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You don't want to swallow 6 a day to get to your best, healthiest weight and get great results, then open the capsules. We are talking about doing a tub, a powdered form where they can scoop it into shakes and scoop it into yogurt and not even use capsules. We're talking about that right now. And we have the drink delivery system. We're working on beverages, which that beverage will not even be close to ready until maybe late April, early May. But as we know, time flies, and before you know it, we'll have a beverage form. We've talked about a coffee. We've talked about some cool delivery systems. So just know that Zenith will get out to the world in multiple ways. Until then, we want you to use the information we're going to pump out to help your people get the best results. Let's set an expectation, though, Jim, about, because I have 1 or 2 more questions, and then we're going to do this again next week, and we'll get more and more questions. What is your feel? Because I have my own opinion on it. What is your opinion? And we've never discussed this on people's expectation on Zenith. If 100 people bought it from me, what would be the number of people that you would feel fairly should get results? Because 10 out of 10 or 100 out of 100 isn't even close to what I call a normal expectation, right? There's always going to be people start and stop. There's people who start and stop products. We even had that with the beta test. People start, and some of them got great results and just quit, right? They changed. They just didn't want to keep doing it. What? And there's going to.
I wouldn't say that they stop more than likely because they don't want to. It's possible they stop because of pricing. I don't know the pricing yet. If anyone knows, let me know, or I will look it up soon. But the pricing of all these products makes a difference. And if the reps are constantly buying it and not selling enough, yeah, it's going to eat away at your money every month that they spend. Some reps spend hundreds of dollars on it, and it's like a month's worth of rent, basically. So it's not like some small little bit. That's my point. Be careful of how they go about this. Be careful of the language they're using.
With water or with food, whatever it would be, and just see if that resolves the issue. That should resolve the issue as effectively as anything else. And still is not 100% absorbed. And so any amount of magnesium that's going to go into the GI tract that remains unabsorbed.
This will get out to the world in multiple ways. Until then, we want you to use the information we're going to pump out to help your people get the best results. Let's set an expectation though, Jim, about, because I have one or two more questions and then we're going to do this again next week and we'll get more and more questions. What is your feel? Because I have my own opinion on it. What is your opinion? We've never discussed him. If you've done a really good workout and you've done in your past what I've done, raise your hand, because that's what's happening with some of your people. I can assure you, you can't guarantee that they're going to comply to watching their intake of calories and getting some movement in. But for me, I know for a fact that that's happened to me in the past, where I've been like, I've been so good this week. Now I can go have, whatever, a couple slices of pizza. And so psychologically, right, some people are getting on Zenith going, now I can just do what I want, eat what I want, because I've got this assist. Keep that in mind. That is supremely important. So when you're talking to someone who's saying it's just not working, the bottom line is it the Zenith is doing its job? Are they doing their part? And that, to me, after Scott and I in month.
And again, it's usually putting on the shame aspect of, you're not doing it, you need to do more, work harder. It's how they run. It's the only way they get people. Because if they can't shame you into doing it and getting things done and bought, they don't make their money. Granted, the product is just the byproduct of what's really their plan. You get people underneath you, you sell. You get people underneath you, you sell. That's all that matters. They may say they care about it or they're doing it for whatever reason, but that's normally not how it goes.
3.5, we started letting it rip. We were eating everything we wanted, Netflix and chill, enjoying it, and then all of a sudden our weight loss stopped. We went back to our 85-90% of the week, whole 30, getting some movement in, wearing our pedometers, and boom, transformation kept going, started again. So I just want to keep that in mind. And if, I don't know if Dr. Rimka, if you're available, but to chime in, but that to me is super important, to keep that part of this in your brain when you're sharing with your customer. Hey, listen, it's let's be honest with ourselves. If we're really following maybe 500 calories less a day and getting movement in, and we're opening the capsules and we're hydrating, we should be seeing pretty darn good results. And
I'm just going to put it in here real quick because I think that was a Freudian slip, because she said $500 calories. If that doesn't tell you what's on the mind, I don't know what is. So when it comes to that stuff, pay attention. Pay attention to them. Freudian slips are your mind's way of telling you the truth. Just letting you know. So we'll keep going. It's almost done. So we're going to be going on to another one very soon.
Not, then let's ask ourselves which factors we haven't really been complying with. So
yeah,
I don't mean
what I gave Danielle.
Yeah,
I think I gave the example that every clinician and doctor, psychologist, I don't care really, any clinician is very much trained to understand that our patients are not lying to us, but you do not self-report correctly. And it's very well known when we ask you, so tell me how many alcoholic drinks you have per week. Oh, doc, I don't drink very much. Well, what is not very much? Oh, once or twice a week. Oh, okay. So when you drink once or twice a week, how many drinks of alcohol do you have? Oh, just 1 glass of wine. Okay. So what we are trained to know, and it's been actually studied, we have to increase that number. Okay. Well, they actually are drinking 3 to 5 nights a week, and they're actually having 2 to 4 drinks.
Right.
Is that accurate? Because that just sounds like gaslighting. Like, the fact is that you aren't even believing your own clients in the doctor's office? That's not right. Like, the fact that she's like double it. But maybe it's true because I don't drink that much. I can drink 1 to 2 drinks in a week if I wanted to, and that's about the extent of it. If I really wanted to, I could drink 2 per week, and that'd be the max. But most times it's only 1. So for her to say that, it's kind of irritating. But that's just my opinion. You let me know.
Not lying. We don't think you're lying. We know you are not self-assessing correctly, and you don't feel safe to tell the truth to yourself, much less to us.
Yeah.
So we don't think you're liars. We don't. We just go, okay, and we write it down. We write down what we really think is going on, because we have to. You know what I mean? It's just part of the training we have to go through, and that's why often with patients I say, well, send me pictures of every meal. I want to see everything you put in your mouth. I want a photograph because I don't eat very much, doc. I really don't eat. Oh, okay, show me pictures. And then I see it's 6 hot dogs for breakfast along with whatever. And I go, did you just know what you just ate?
That's right.
That was 2,700 calories and 150 grams of fat. They're like, what? I'm like, that's what that really is. I'm like, that Caesar chicken salad thing you got at Cheesecake Factory, 2,400 calories.
Yeah.
And that was your appetizer.
Right.
So I'm just saying that that's a real thing.
It
and
is
people
a
don't
real
really
thing.
understand, which is why we have.
But my main issue also is everybody's body is different. It doesn't mean you have to. I feel like it lessening calories doesn't always equal good, and more calories doesn't always equal bad. Everyone breaks it down differently. I like to snack all throughout my day and have like food snacks, but then like like small snack now and then, or like a healthy snack or whatever. But like to say that, I'm just irritated by this. Let me know what you think. I just don't like this way of talking about calorie intake, and automatically it's somehow negative.
Sobering moment of, I want a DEXA scan. I want you to see how much visceral fat. I want you to see how much body fat's going on here. I want to see what the bone density is. It's very sobering and very confronting for people. That's why many people avoid it. But so it is a thing that goes on. So that's a small percentage, you guys. Some people are over consuming. They're not telling the truth to themselves or to anybody else. So there's my 2 cents.
Thank you for that, because then I just threw that out there because I went to bed last night and said, how often did she called it underreporting. How often in my life have I done that where I've underreported? It sounds so much nicer than lying to myself. How many times have I underreported? And I can remember being with my nutritionist and not wanting to be honest because I felt like a jerk. Like she gave me these things to do and I didn't follow it all the way. And so I don't want to be embarrassed. And so sometimes we lie to ourselves. We underreport. But listen, that's something you need to factor in. And if you can get people in the community and we can get them, I know Dr. Rimka does her community. We have so many groups starting their own challenges. Start a challenge, start a group, get people in there to, log your food. It isn't going to happen overnight. We didn't get fat overnight. We're not going to get to our best, healthiest bodies overnight, but it's a really incredible assist. That's all I can say about Zenith over and over. It will assist you. It does things within the body, the signaling that it does, the way it's working, even when we're not understanding what's happening consciously. It's doing things that when you go to put on an outfit, I promise you, when I went to Utah and Scott zipped me up in that romper and I was like, wait a minute. He's like, Danelle, you don't have to hold your breath. I thought, I'm going to be a stuffed sausage in this because last year I was. When he zipped it and there was room in it, it was like a moment. I'm like, I feel so good today. I didn't feel any bulges. I didn't feel like I needed Spanx. And it was like, but yet the scale hadn't changed in 3 weeks. Guess what? My body was still changing because I'm staying the course. So stay the course. I'm going to put up a picture on the team page in just a minute. I got to get permission from this woman, but she said to me last night, this is why people need to stay the course. She goes, I flatlined for like a month and I thought nothing was happening. She goes, look at my photos, and I almost bawled for her. She looks like a different human being. So when I get her permission, she's probably watching now, and I put the post up, I'm not even going to tell you how much weight she lost, because in the photo, I thought she lost between 20 and maybe 24. When she told me how many pounds she lost, you're not going to believe it. So I'm going to let you guys guess, and you see what you think. And that's proof that lean muscle mass matters. Body composition matters. Dr. Rimka put up an incredible post about how her weight had gone up, and yet she put this outfit on and she looked incredible in the suit. She's like, look at me. Like,
Yeah.
this fits
Can I
better.
add that, Danielle?
Sure.
Honestly, because I'm not addicted to the scale like a lot of women are. However, in my mind, I think I was 127 pounds when I got pregnant. Okay? My son is 17. So 18 years ago, I was 127 pounds. At 5'11", I'm very lean. I'm a small framed woman. I'm at that lowest end of what's safe for my height, okay? Because a very big window of what that frame can do, small, medium, or large in ethnicity, you guys, okay? So that's still a safe weight for me, very lean, athletic. I think I want to get down to that weight. And when I wore this suit a couple years ago, when I was a size 4, all my clothes are a lot of those, and I haven't fit in them for a couple years. And it's been very sad for me. And I don't want to spend any money, so I wear a lot of pajamas a lot. Okay? Zoom life, right? Like a lot of you. Well, I've been working on it, you guys, right? Doing the things, getting DEXA scans every 3 months, doing different interventions. Now the experiment has been the Zenith intervention. My weight has not changed from a certain number. That is making me quite mad, actually. Very angry when I went to I went, what? How am I that weight? Okay? How am I 145 pounds? But I'm like, I swear it's different. I don't understand. But I'm a size 4 at 144, 145 pounds, where I used to be 127 to be that size.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I have so much bone density. I'm in the highest percentile, 99th percentile in bone density, highest rock hard I could be. Have so much muscle mass. I cannot be 127 pounds unless I'm like 5% body fat. It's never going to happen, right? I'm fine with that. Because I'm actually smaller though.
Yes.
And I looked, and I'll be 50 in a little bit here. So it's even jacking my mind up, even though I understand it. I'm like, how? And I keep going. I guess I'm gonna have to let I'm gonna have to let that go.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm gonna have to let it go. And so I don't really care. I just go with body fat percentage now. That's it. Only thing I care about, I use DEXA. I want to know what my body fat is. And all I care is that that's going down. Like my muscle's still staying there. My bone density's banging. And that's it. So it is shocking, even for me who understands this, you guys.
It messes with us. Yeah, it messes with us. But I have to tell you, to be able to be free of the scale now and feel.
All right. Well, that was about the end of that. But you let me know what you think, because I'm just now learning about Awakened and what they do and how they work. I mean, granted, not a lot different compared to most MLMs, so I can't really say that there's a major difference, but you let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and trying to aim for 1,000 subscribers still by the end of the year. If I can get there by the middle of the year, it'd be great too, but end of the year is fine too. And don't forget to share my TikTok, and I have a Facebook page as well for this, and yep, that's about it. But I'll see you guys soon. Oh, also Instagram. But I'll see you guys soon. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.